Leaked, unedited footage from It Ends With Us proves Blake Lively lied about Justin Baldoni.
Justin Baldoni's lawyer releases unedited footage from a scene from It Ends With Us.
I think you would find it terrifying. we just literally hit each other.
It might be over for Blake with the original footage from certain scenes in It Ends With Us coming out. Now, if you've been under a Hollywood-sized rock, here's a quick recap. So Blake accused Justin of unacceptable conduct during production.
Blake Lively alleging that he created an unhealthy and uncomfortable work environment during the film's production.
Claiming that he overstepped boundaries in a slow dance scene, along with many other moments on and off camera. Justin fiercely denied everything, insisting he was nothing but professional and that Blake's descriptions were inaccurate.
Justin Baldoni said, I don't want to do anything negative toward her.
So then we have a tug of war back and forth of a bunch of suits, and then we have Brian Friedman, Justin's attorney, and Ryan Reynolds, Blake's husband, suddenly involved in one of the biggest industry suits of 2024, now rolling into 2025. So yeah, it's getting like pretty crazy, guys. But let's examine the biggest piece of news to date, the unedited footage. According to Friedman, it proves that Blake's version of events was 100% false. It might change everything you thought you knew about the Blake and Justin drama. So, we have a cozy bar set, extras cheering in the background, and Blake and Justin decked out in character attire. The film, which eventually debuted in August 2024, features their two leads inching closer and dancing sweetly. Only now, fans are getting the raw audio, no fancy editing, no dramatic music, just two co-stars conversing over what's supposed to be a montage moment. And guess what? By all appearances, both seem entirely comfortable. In the snippet, Blake is overheard telling Justin that she thinks it'd be more romantic if they spoke quietly while dancing. Justin agrees, they do some small talk, and boom, they start talking about their spouses, Ryan Reynolds and Emily Baldoni. Nothing about this exchange suggests anyone's crossing a line. If anything, it sounds like typical chatter. The scene between two partners might share this tension of repeated takes and the whole fake lover thing, So, one of the spiciest details in Justin's suit claimed that Blake openly teased the size of his nose, even suggesting he shut down filming so he could get surgery. In the unedited tape, that moment appears to unfold exactly as Justin described, with Blake joking about how nosy they are as they lean in, and Justin chuckling, "I know, and my nose is so big." Her reply was along the lines of, "It's not too late to fix that," implying some kind of break in production to address it, which is kind of crazy, guys. Like, dissing him, right? While some fans have defended Blake, saying comedic banter often happens on set, Justin's camp sees it as proof that she was one stepping outside of the scene and making personal jabs. It's all there in living color. Friedman hammered this point home in a statement to Page 6, declaring that the raw video confirms who was really making questionable remarks. And, totally see where they're coming from. Obviously, it could have been a little, joke. But if she was coming for him, from the beginning, saying that he was making some comments that he shouldn't, he's gonna come for her back and say, "Listen, so were you." Or we don't even know if he did at all, right? So Blake's original filing from December 2024 claimed that Justin said something very off-putting while sniffing her perfume or fragrance. She claimed it occurred during a no-audio montage sequence, so the actor's remarks were never recorded and thus unverified. But in the newly revealed footage, yes, there's definitely audio, and from what one can hear, the conversation goes something like this. Blake possibly referencing her tanning product, Justin lightheartedly noting that it smells nice, then Blake teasing about the mismatch between his beard and her spray-on color. In other words, the vibe leans in a funny direction, not a boundary-crossing one. Friedman says the short clip alone shatters Blake's assertion that Justin whispered something weird down her neck or that she confronted him later for going too far. Instead, the pair is seen giggling and joking about everything set, annoyances like messing up each other's hair or clothes. This, Friedman argues, is exactly why they took the extraordinary step of leaking the unedited video. According to him, the footage directly contradicts Blake's claims that Justin behaved in a manner that made her extremely uneasy during the specific slow dance scene. Friedman even provided a statement pointing out that the leak clip is unmodified evidence that shows the cast practicing normal banter between takes. Of course, Blake's supporters remain skeptical, noting that just because these takes look harmless doesn't necessarily mean every aspect of filming was. Some fans wonder if there are other angles or other days of shooting where this alleged behavior might have occurred. Still, from a public relations standpoint, these 10 minutes of footage are a powerful blow to Blake's version of the story. So it's kind of crazy because, I don't know, like I kind of see both sides there where he's showing footage and saying like, look, this is literally raw footage, watch it for yourself, nothing bad was said. But then the other side is like, okay, but is there other footage that was not shown that maybe some things were said? Or was there off-filmed moments that, we just can't see because it's just not there, right? But, I mean, we're gonna need some proof from Blake's side, I think, just to get the other story straight, right? But obviously we also don't want to just completely not believe Blake's side, right? It's a tricky one. It's a tricky one. And let's not forget that there's a broader drama here. Just last week, Justin filed a whopping $400 million defamation suit naming Blake, Ryan, and a publicist named Leslie Sloan, claiming that the couple seized creative control over the production. Justin's court papers insist that Blake repeatedly broke character, made personal jabs, and basically demanded the film revolve around her preferences. Friedman asserts that the leaked clip is just one piece of a way bigger puzzle, text messages, emails, and behind-the-scenes footage that allegedly shows Blake orchestrating a negative portrayal of Justin to shield herself from blowback. For her part, Blake's camp calls Justin's new suit a tired chapter in what they brand as an accuser's playbook, saying it's typical for someone being called out to flip the script on the person making claims. And in prior statements, they argue that the star has concrete evidence of wrongdoing, none of which she made up or twisted to fit her narrative. So we have a classic Hollywood standoff. Both sides claim they have the ultimate receipts, and the public's left deciding which narrative they find more convincing. Now, obviously, we see Justin's side comes out, the leaked footage comes out, and so I guess you could say he kind of is proving his point. And if she has this concrete evidence as claimed, now I guess we're just going to be waiting for hers to come out so we can see the other side. So it's just going to be a lot of back and forth. And you know what? Maybe they're just both wrong in some ways, right? Like, I feel like there's just no straight line to this drama. Meanwhile, the New York Times is also a target of Justin's fury. Justin filed a $250 million suit against the paper, accusing its coverage of these accusations of being skewed. He says they cherry-picked and altered communications to fit a sensational storyline. In a sense, Justin is on the offensive everywhere, taking on a major publication, calling out Blake's entire PR strategy, and now dropping raw footage for the world to scrutinize. Some insiders see this as a bold tactic, maybe even risky. In Hollywood's high-stakes environment, it's unusual for raw on-set material to be exposed, right? Like, when do we ever see this happening? Yet Friedman and Justin evidently believe it's worth any backlash to clear his name from these very public claims, which is honestly fair, right? Like, at this point, it's either him or the film. Like, I think he's gonna choose him. So according to Friedman, the scene was originally meant as a dreamy montage with no sound. So the unedited footage reveals the reality behind the glam. Not a smooth, wordless embrace, but two actors pausing to reposition themselves, test angles, chat about lighting, and mention their spouses. The result is weirdly charming, like watching the scaffolding behind a finished building or something. We hear Justin and Blake strategizing about whether they should speak or just gaze into each other's eyes for a more dramatic effect. And it would have been cute to see that if there wasn't all this drama happening, but now it's just kind of awkward. And in the final cut, the production used only visuals for a tender slow motion moment, but Friedman claims that this is exactly how rumors got twisted. Blake apparently suggested that because no sound was recorded. Justin uttered problematic statements that only she heard. Yet the leaked version says otherwise. Not only was there a microphone literally capturing them both, but the banter is pretty normal. One of the funniest parts in the leaked clip is the comedic back and forth about Justin's nose. While they might sound harmless, it's key evidence in his claim that Blake teased him personally. The actor had mentioned in his filing that Blake tried to get him to consider a nose procedure, and the unedited footage now reveals her half-joking line about shutting down production to fix it. Now, for some people, it's a cringe moment that shows a little of the personal digs Justin says he endured. Others note that this is typical set humor. Actors frequently kid around with each other in the gap between official takes, and I mean, that could be fine, but with her causing this whole thing, is it? Right? Some fans are urging her to release unedited clips from her own vantage or to highlight different scenes or days where she felt things veered off track. Because obviously we want to see where she's coming from, right? And others think she might rely on emails or text messages to further reveal Justin's alleged attempts to press for extra scenes, overshadow her during filming. As for It Ends With Us fans who rewatch the final montage, they might never see it the same way again. I know I won't. Knowing how much behind the scenes dialogue took place and then what parts were cut to create this romantic silence kind of shows a new perspective and changes the whole storyline. And while Friedman insists that the footage does not lie, we're left waiting to see if Blake has equally impactful evidence up her sleeve, right? Given the magnitude of these claims, plus Justin's two massive suits, one at Blake and Ryan and another at a major newspaper, it's clear that neither side plans to give up anytime soon. As the drama unfolds, more leaked footage might come out, and we can only guess whether additional scenes from It Ends With Us might surface. And we obviously want to see Blake's viewpoint at this point.
Lively is getting exposed for bad behavior because of some leaked audio, and it is so wild.
A voicemail from Justin Baldoni talking about how Blake Lively sent he and his entire family into the basement.
I literally was sent to the basement with all my friends and family for over an hour.
Justin is trying to spin everything to make himself a victim now. This is a huge turn of events because, at first, Blake Lively was getting all the support. Now Justin Baldoni appears to be winning in the public eye. The increasingly dramatic feud between It Ends With Us co-stars, Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, has taken yet another eye-opening twist. An alleged audio clip revealed by Baldoni's attorney Brian Friedman is now circulating among fans and media outlets.
I wasn't allowed to be seen. She didn't want me anywhere near her or the rest of the cast.
Prompting new questions about who really holds the moral high ground and who may be spinning the narrative behind the scenes. Rumors that Blake and Justin weren't exactly besties began swirling during the film's promotional tour last year. Observers noticed that the two stars never took photos together, avoided each other during interviews, and spoke about the film as if they were working on separate projects. While tension isn't uncommon in Hollywood, the situation escalated in a major way when the New York Times published a report alleging that Justin orchestrated a targeted smear campaign against Blake, complete with accusations of on-set mistreatment. Soon afterward, Blake filed an official lawsuit, asserting that Justin not only slandered her, but also said weird stuff to her during production.
Blake Lively is taking legal action against Justin Baldoni.
For those who admired the two actors' previous work, Justin's directorial ventures, and Blake's beloved performances, it was a revelation that felt jarring. Adding to the drama, Justin promptly responded with his own legal action, arguing that the Times had published false and defamatory claims.
Justin Baldoni sues the New York Times for $250 million.
Against this backdrop, Friedman released the so-called smoking gun, an audio clip capturing Justin's account of the It Ends With Us premiere.
Think about this on what, could have been one of the most beautiful nights of my life career-wise.
In the recording, Justin conveys deep disappointment at being relegated to the sidelines on what should have been a triumphant night. According to his remarks, Blake allegedly had him removed from the main event area for over an hour, forcing him to hang out in the basement with his friends and family. On what could have been one of the most beautiful nights of my life career-wise, I was sent to the basement with all my friends and family. She didn't want me anywhere near her or the rest of the cast. These words paint an image of a star who felt deliberately shunned, offering a perspective that clashes sharply with the narrative that Justin was the aggressor. For Friedman, this moment is critical. He claims it serves as proof that Justin was the one being excluded, calling into question Blake's version of events. Unsurprisingly, Blake's representatives have shown no sign of backing down. To them, the audio clip is merely a sideshow designed to shift focus away from what they view as very real allegations of misconduct. In their view, the recording, whether authentic or taken out of context, doesn't address the core issues of what she is talking about that Blake's lawsuit highlights. For Blake's legal team, the fundamental matter remains the alleged pattern of disrespect and intimidation she encountered on set. The question, they argue, isn't whether Justin felt snubbed during a premiere, but whether he engaged in behavior that crossed professional and personal boundaries. As news of the leaked audio spreads, fans and social media commenters are weighing in. Some see it as validation that Justin was the actual victim, pointing out that feeling marginalized or publicly humiliated can be really taxing. Others suspect it's all part of a carefully orchestrated counteroffensive, with the audio's release timed to derail Blake's claims. After all, if the public starts focusing on the premiere incident, they might pay less attention to the more serious accusations she's made. Because this is not your typical Hollywood clash. There are big money lawsuits, reputations at stake, and sensitive allegations on the table. The tension surrounding Blake and Justin's dispute has become a full-blown spectacle. Every new piece of evidence, from leaked text messages to alleged audio recordings, draws the spotlight further onto how these two stars interacted on set and off. With the legal proceedings far from over, each side is racing to win in the court of public opinion. Whether this audio ultimately shifts the case or simply adds more noise remains to be seen.
Blake Lively admits she tried to control Justin Baldoni's movie, It Ends With Us.
We gather storms.
You want to do the honors? That's my brother, Ryle.
The first official customer?
The drama between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni keeps getting more heated as their court battle progresses. It's been a wild ride. Both parties have been in dispute since the release of their collaboration film, It Ends With Us, where they both starred in. Blake is suing Justin, who served as the movie's director,
alleging that Justin spearheaded an online smear campaign against Blake.
At the end of this, both Lively and Baldoni are going to wish it never came to fruition.
For a ton of different accusations that she claims. Following Blake Lively's 80-page lawsuit against former co-star and director Justin Baldoni for on the set of It Ends With Us, a video shared by Sky News at the London red carpet premiere of the film suggested that Blake was heavily involved in the making of Colleen Hoover's book adaptation. Dressed in an elegant floral outfit, Blake stated that she's not the type of actor who would act without producing. In her words, she said, "You can't just put me in any clothes and give me any words and have me step in and transform." She admitted to feeling like an imposter before as she watched actors who could easily transform themselves on set like shapeshifters, but then she realized that the people she admired most were filmmakers or storytellers who are hands-on when it comes to writing and creating. She believes she belongs in the later category, and she's proud to embrace that. A user from Twitter shared this video on the platform that suggested that Blake might seem to think that the public would ignore her old statements about the magnitude of her influence on the project, as she claimed to be just an actor with no power or control in her lawsuit. Justin Baldoni has previously exposed an alleged text conversation between him and the actress and how she was pretty much in charge of her character's wardrobe on the set. In the same exchange, he also revealed that Blake reportedly permitted him to enter her trailer to rehearse while she was pumping milk. Blake's lawsuit against Justin was viewed by US Weekly, with the outlet sharing in an article that the director allegedly appeared focused on things that he was not supposed to be focused on and doing things he wasn't supposed to be doing, but unfortunately I can't talk about the details here. Everything that Blake is saying Justin did, he firmly denies, and a lot of people are taking his side due to the fact that he did debunk some of the stuff that Blake's saying. He's also been a women's rights activist for many years, and he is a staunch feminist, so why would he decide right now would be a time to do all of this stuff
that she said he did. The drama between the former co-stars continues to worsen as the days go by, and it does not seem like a matter that will be settled instantaneously. So much more is going to come out in court, and apparently Justin's team plans to release every single text message between the two.
Looking through Blake Lively's past isn't shining such a great light on her. Let's look at some moments when Blake Lively's behavior went too far.
First of all, congrats on your little bump.
Congrats on your little bump.
Although you may have believed that the Gossip Girl co-stars were closest friends, the reality couldn't be further from the truth. Before delivering her statement at PallyFest in 2008, Blake Lively is shown in the rediscovered interview participating in a panel discussion with Leighton Meester and the other Gossip Girl cast members. She was disclosing the promises the producers of Gossip Girls had given her in order to guarantee her role as Serena on the show. She explained that in the books, Chuck Bass had a pet monkey, something she wasn't keen on.
It was another promise was no pet monkey.
So she admitted that she made them promise there would be no pet monkey. She continued, Chuck has a pet monkey with coordinating outfits, and I was like, I would love to be a part of the show, but I can't act with a monkey. She then pointed directly to Leighton and joked, well, I got a few of them. Leighton was offended by the remark, rightfully so, and Penn Badgley and Chase Crawford glanced at the ground awkwardly as the audience chuckled.
And then I got a few of them.
When none of her co-stars laughed, she exclaimed, come on, it was a joke, Lord have mercy.
Come on, it was a joke.
Not a very good joke. A tweet went viral which showed an image of Blake Lively giving a quote to a journalist where she says a term widely accepted to be not very kind to those who've transitioned. Blake Lively talked to Elle magazine about her hopes for her future children and what they might wear while she was filming Gossip Girl. The quote says, I hope to have a few girls one day. If not girls, they better be, because I have some amazing shoes and bags that need to be appreciated. Later in another video, she repeated the word. You read the gossip magazines and everybody is dating everyone. Everyone hates everyone. Everybody's had tons of plastic surgery and we're actually men, and it's just like you don't listen to the rumors.
What is the next 5 years of...
Goodness gracious. At the Boone Hall plantation in South Carolina, which housed 9 worker huts during the owning of people, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds tied the knot in 2012. In an Instagram post from 2020, Blake and Ryan expressed their regret about the plantation wedding. They wrote, we're ashamed that in the past we've allowed ourselves to be uninformed about how deeply rooted systematic unrest is. We want to educate ourselves about other people's experiences and talk to our kids about everything, all of it, especially our own complicity. It turns out that Blake Lively has been making statements in interviews for years, in between all of the terrible It Ends With Us interviews. Journalist Kirsty Flaw shared the 8-year-old footage from when she interviewed Blake, admitting sitting down with Blake Lively and her co-star Parker Posey for Cafe Society in 2016 is the most uncomfortable interview situation I have ever experienced. Is it not okay to congratulate someone on their pregnancy or to ask another woman about costumes she's wearing in the film? When Kirsty tries to ask polite questions and make good comments to the two in the nightmare interview footage, Blake brusquely rejects her. She congratulates Blake Lively on her pregnancy, saying, "Congrats on your little bump." Then, even though Flaw isn't pregnant, Blake Lively responds to the journalist with the same remark. Just super passive aggressive. During an interview about It Ends With Us, the host asked Blake Lively how people might approach her regarding the film's delicate and deeply personal topics. He inquired, "Most of us who are lucky enough to run into a celebrity in public get only a few brief moments to maybe speak to you guys. But for people who see this movie, who relate to the topics of this movie on a deeply personal level, they're really going to want to talk to you. This movie is going to affect people and they're going to want to tell you about their lives. So if someone understands the themes of this movie, they come across you in public and they want to talk to you, what's the best way for them to talk to you about this?" She then joked about releasing her phone number to fans rather than taking the topic seriously, wondering why she wouldn't just location share at that point. In response, she said, "That's like asking for my address or my phone number, location share. I could just location share you and then we could just," before she started trailing off while laughing. She continues, "I'm a Virgo, so every time I'm like, are we talking logistics, emotionally?" Regarding her interview, one Reddit user shared their comments, writing, "What the heck is wrong with her? This is just willful ignorance and lack of self-awareness from a fully grown woman. Is she even aware of what the movie is promoting? Does she know what it's about? The cognitive dissonance is off the charts at this point. She reduced the valid question the interviewer asked her to a flippant joke. I genuinely feel bad for her co-star, and you can clearly see he is uncomfortable, but since they've all thrown in their lot with Blake and her annoying husband, they're stuck with this mess. I honestly appreciate Justin for being the only person to address and tackle the DV themes on this press tour.
Blake Lively gets caught in another lie on camera.
You were teaching Justin how to pull you in.
Where have you seen this?
I don't think people realize how involved she was in this movie. She's a producer on the film from the beginning to the end.
Wow. So one thing Blake wasn't truthful about was the fact that there was a professional on set there to help with romantic scenes, which was proven to be untrue.
You got your demons, spend seasons on the dark side of the moon.
There's a long way for the "it ends with us" drama to go before we can pull the plug on it. Right from the get-go, the film was under the pin of the public eye for trying to romanticize a story about DV. Then came the promotions, and Blake Lively's behavior in interviews was enough to make fans run as far as they could from the film. Now, even months after the film's release, drama has not left its side, with the actress filing a lawsuit against her co-star and director, Justin Baldoni.
Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively's situation just got crazier.
Blake Lively is taking legal action against her It Ends With Us co-star, Justin Baldoni.
In her complaint, Blake Lively had a lot to say about Justin Baldoni's behavior towards her and the involvement, or lack thereof, of professionals on set who were supposed to be there to help choreograph romantic scenes.
You know, right when we started pre-production, we started searching for our intimacy coordinator, and we ended up having 2 intimacy coordinators.
Justin Baldoni hit back with his own side of the story, but there is still a lot to see before the case comes to a conclusion. Recently, a viral video from the film's promotion has resurfaced on social media where Blake Lively talked about romantic coordinators on the set of the film. Colleen Hoover, Blake Lively, and Brandon Sklenar sit down for an interview with Access Hollywood as the conversation shifted to the actress's romance with the leading actors. The interviewer pointed out how Lively was sometimes directing the romantic scenes on her own.
I think Blake Lively's ready to direct. That's what I think. So, yeah.
The interviewer also brought up behind-the-scenes clips which showed Blake teaching Justin how to pull her in for a scene.
You were teaching Justin how to pull you in.
Where have you seen
this?
As the interview resurfaced, people had a lot to say about Blake, from calling her entitled to insufferable. Fans clearly have a strong opinion of Blake. This isn't all she was called either. Needless to say, Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni has got the entire world talking about who's right and who's wrong. Only time will tell how it ends for them.